And Atlanta News First is staying on top of breaking news at this hour. Satellite images show what's left of a Maryland bridge following a catastrophic crash. You can see the sections missing after this morning's impact. At this hour, families are holding out hope that their loved ones have been found alive amid that sunken vehicles along with the bridge's parts. Overnight, a massive tanker slammed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. The structure collapsed moments after impact. The impact flattened the ship. Cars and bridge workers fell into the water. At this hour, officials say the mission remains search and rescue.
Our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak.
The catastrophe is now causing a backlog of cargo ships seeking to unload their goods. Atlanta News First, Rachel Aragon, live tonight in West Midtown. Rachel, could Georgia's port see more activity because of this?
Well, we know that ports along the East Coast could well absorb or have to absorb some of the cargo that would normally go through the port of Baltimore, triggering possible disruptions and even supply chain issues.
To hear the words that the Key Bridge has collapsed, it's shocking.
The Baltimore bridge collapse disrupting more than just traffic for tens of thousands of commuters.
So the path to normalcy will not be easy. It will not be quick. It will not be inexpensive.
According to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, the Baltimore bridge collapse will have a serious impact on supply chains now that shipping through the port of Baltimore is suspended indefinitely, with no word on when ships will be able to make their way through again.
We don't have any estimates on timeline because right now our exclusive focus is on saving lives.
The port of Baltimore is the busiest U.S. port for car shipments. U.S. automakers General Motors and Ford will reroute affected shipments after the bridge collapse. But the company said the impact will be minimal. Baltimore is also the leading U.S. port for farming and construction machinery.
The fact that commerce is stopping, no ships are going in, no ships are going out. There's going to be a major salvage operation where they have to remove the remnants of the bridge. There's going to be a wreck removal, a salvage, and that's going to take weeks.
According to logistics firm Freightos, rerouting cargo to other cities along the East Coast could push up trucking and rail prices if the volumes are significant. For now, the focus in Baltimore and across the country is on those who are immediately impacted by the catastrophic collapse.
And certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to all those in Baltimore. Tragic situation.
And the Georgia Transportation Alliance telling us in a statement they anticipate a minimal impact in terms of movement of goods throughout the state of Georgia, but they also say that they are in clear communication with state leaders and the Georgia Ports Authority to monitor the situation right now in Maryland. We're live in West Midtown. Rachel Aragon, Atlanta News First.